Hey fellow Manhwa fans, welcome to Manhwa Odyssey, where today we're delving into the captivating world of Revenge of the Iron-Blooded Sword Hound, Season 2. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and spread the word to your friends who are into Manhwa. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on the adventure we have in store for you. So grab your seat, and let's dive right in. We start off with a beautiful view of the city. The day when people flock to the city of water, Vikir. It is the capital city of the great empire, Rock. The day of Colosseo Academy's entrance ceremony, the world's most prestigious university. The first day is buzzing with the Academy's club recruitments. We hear upperclassmen asking the new students to come over, as they would like to tell them something great about their small meditation group. Another upperclassman shouting at a freshman, stating that if they have a moment he'd like them to fill out his survey. He continued by saying that on the recruitment form they would need to stamp their fingerprints and add their registration seal as well. The upperclassman further stated that the freshmen are more competitive than last year. Another upperclassman replied that's because this year's freshmen for both the Fire Corps and the Ice Corps are no joke. We then learned that there are two classes in the Academy. Ice Corps are the members who specialize in swords, bows, spears, and more. While on the other hand, the Fire Corps are the members who specialize in magic in their 4 years, besides specializing in those fields. The students also learn all sorts of general knowledge. They checked their report and noticed that a specific set of freshmen were gaining all the attention. Tutor from the Don Quixote family who's famous for his spearmanship. Bianca from the Usher family who's famous for her bowmanship. They tied first in the Ice Corps practical exam and are the first on the desired people list. After them, third, fourth, and fifth place are the Baskerville triplets from the Iron-Blooded Swordsman family. Well, they're Baskervilles, so no further explanation is needed. There's one person who's gaining all the attention in the Fire Corps. She's an extremely talented freshman, Sinclair. She ranked first in the practical test and second in theory. Her outstanding grades were recorded. And another person, the name of the one who came first in the theory exam, Vikir. Well, there's no need to recruit a nerd who ranked first in theory, right? I'm sure he's the type of newbie who'll ruin the club's atmosphere. There are more than 10 freshmen with the name Vikir. It'll be annoying to find him. As the real Vikir walks past, he said to himself, in order not to draw attention in the academy, I ditched the Baskerville surname and entered as a commoner, to think I would still garner attention. I heard that it's more difficult to enter the academy as a commoner. So it seems like doing well in the theory exam instead of practical backfired. As he talks to himself, we can see his siblings observing him from afar. Vikir further said to himself that he needs to do his best to avoid attention, so he can move around comfortably, stopping his train of thought. He noticed another student being swarmed by a group of recruiters, asking her to take a look at their direction. A few students shouted out that they are her biggest fan and that they love her. A few other students shouted that they entered the academy just to meet her. Other students said, look at her reverence and holiness. She's so beautiful. She kindly asks everyone to calm down as we are introduced to her as the school president and vice president of the newspaper club. Lun Ku Vadis. She awkwardly asked the crowd if they were all interested in the newspaper club, right? One student shouted out, stating, hell no, we're just interested in you. As we see Vikir looking at a distance. Vikir analyzes that she's Lun Ku Vadis. Come to think of it, she's the school president. He thought to himself that he should avoid her as much as possible. As Vikir turns away, notices his presence as he walks away from the crowd. Vikir asked himself if this was it. He's interrupted by another student saying, that's also your room? You're my roommate then. The student introduces himself as PG. Vikir did the same and PG replied, nice to meet you, Vikir. Vikir started to recall knowing PG in his previous life. He was a kind guy who always helped and gave him things, while he was here to support the triplets. PG was, however, being bullied by his wicked roommate back then. That was the start of his misfortunes, and in the end I hope that whatever happened back then won't occur this time. PG said to Vikir that it's a bunk bed, so Vikir should choose which bed he wanted as Vikir threw his bag on the floor. PG asked Vikir if he was going to the freshman welcome party after dinner. Before Vikir could respond, PG asked if that was a stupid question, as he further says that it's not compulsory, but all the freshmen will be there. He said to Vikir that if he can't get close to his peers or seniors, that his 4 years here would be difficult. Vikir boldly stated, "No, I'm not going." PG replied, "You're not going?" with a shocking and confusing face. Vikir replied, "Yeah." PG said, "No. If you don't, the seniors will single you out. You'll also become a loner among your peers." PG went on ranting that a lot of distinguished seniors are going to come to this orientation. The President Saintist Dollars is coming too. And our peers are amazing. Tudor, the eldest son of Don Quixote, and Bianca, the eldest daughter of the Usher family. You've heard of them, right? But that's not all. The triplets from the Baskerville family are here too. They're all so talented. Not to mention, Sancho from the North Mercenary Guild rejected the top spot at Varangian to come here instead. Sinclair will be there too. She passed the exam with the highest score at the Magic Tower. She also came first for the Fire Corps. I can't believe that they're my peers. Vikir thought that PG was great at collecting and analyzing information in his previous life also. He said with a cheerful expression if Vikir wanted to go to the party, right? Vikir responded with a chilling ice-cold, "No." PG, extremely confused, shouted why. Vikir explained that he just didn't want to go as he exited the room telling PG to have fun. PG, stunned, only uttered "wow." PG thought that Vikir's indifference was rare and he wanted to learn that also. As we see Vikir adjusting his glasses as he leaves the dorms, the scene then shifts to night, where we see a glowing blue moon hidden by numerous clouds. We see Vikir standing on a roof observing three bandit-looking individuals sitting around a fire. Mr. Mohawk stated that he was relieved that he does not have to hear those brats whining anymore, since all the storerooms had been filled with children recently. Mr. Red Hair asked, "But are they all coming here?" Baldly responding that a carriage came at dawn and took them all. Baldy further claims that they were headed to an orphanage in Quo Vadis. Mr. Mohawk said, "Hey, curiosity kills the cat." Mr. Longhair walked in stating that they should stop the chit-chatting and stand guard properly. If you want to get paid for your pitiful existence, that is. Mr. Longhair is introduced as Flesh Grinder, Ron Battison. Shocked, the three thugs get up as Flesh Grinder states that they are all pieces of trash, that they didn't possess any fighting spirit. Flesh Grinder said, "Well, against me a gladiator, what can you low-ranked mercenaries who have no mana do to me? Is there no one who's strong? I want to slice someone up." Someone asked Mr. Longhair if he was Ron Battison. Angered that a low-ranked mercenary utter his name, he grabbed his sword. He turned around to find out that the low-level mercenaries were already killed. A cold sweat running down his face, he asked himself, "What's this?" A voice echoed from an unknown location. Ron Humbert Battison. 4 years ago, you killed your neighboring family, used them as sacrifices, and contracted with a demon. After that, you joined the another guild association. You gathered information and gave it to the demon. Lastly, you extracted information from the Mankind Allied Forces. While you were on guard duty, you used a hand mirror and revealed the location of the platoon's camp. Flesh Grinder shouted, "Stop saying baseless things and come out." That's how the ally platoon was slaughtered. Vikir appeared behind him disguised, as Flesh Grinder swanged his dual swords. Flesh Grinder with a stunned expression wondering if he missed. Vikir replied, "That was easy." As we see Flesh Grinder arms completely sliced off with pinpoint precision. We hear Flesh Grinder shout, "My arms," while lying down in pain bleeding out. Flesh Grinder asked Vikir, "I don't know about the Mankind Allied Forces. So why are you doing this to me?" Vikir replied, "Well, of course, because it hasn't happened yet." As Vikir lifted Flesh Grinder by his hair, he explained that he knew he was already contacted with a demon. Vikir asked Flesh Grinder to give him the information on the contracted demon. As Flesh Grinder was explaining that he didn't know, his face started slowly swelling up with a red pigmentation, exploding before Vikir. Pause. Vikir, unfazed, stated that another one died with their head exploding. As he checks his book of names, stating that makes 3 now. Closing the book, we find out it's called the Blacklist. Vikir mentioned to himself that the book was created with the memories of his past life and Cindy Wendy's investigation. It contains information about the demon worshippers who sided with the demons and betrayed mankind before the time of the fall. They must be killed. The 3 demon worshippers who died had their heads explode before I killed them. If that's the demon's skill, it means that they're hiding within the capital, one of the 10 elite corpses who contracted with them. We transition to a bell ringing as we see a balcony illuminated by the moon's light. We see Vikir as he stands at a door with his sword. Beelzebub, casting a shadow with trails of bodies behind him. With an ominous presence, he asked himself, does that make it 29? As he retracted Beelzebub back into his arm. He summarized his experience so far, that they're either dead or if they mention the demon, their heads explode. It seems like that's a condition of the demon contract. He wasn't able to get any information about the Elite Corps location. This is going to be a long and excruciating fight, as he marks another name from his blacklist book. He further claimed that he didn't expect to get anything on his first day. Shall I return to the academy now? We then see Vikir leaping from building to building to building, heading back to the academy. He then stops on a branch, closely observing the freshman welcome party, stating to himself that it's still ongoing. He jumps down from the branch, landing a heroic pose. He then dusted himself off. As he quickly equipped and adjusted his glasses and asked himself if he should quickly stop by just in case. We then get a clear view of the freshman welcoming party, as we see students chit-chatting and slowly getting acquainted with one another. The triplets chugging what appears to be a brown liquid. We shift over to students staring, blushing, and with heart-filled eyes at Dolores, stating that she's finally here, as she freezes with a shocked expression. We can hear other students saying that they loved the vice president. We then see the other freshmen pampering and interacting with the upperclassmen. Vikir paused at the entrance and said, those two he mentioned that he didn't know they were in the same year. The great heroes who led mankind to victory with Karmas Moor during the time of the fall. One of them was the person who stood at the front line of the battlefield and took charge. From one of the 7 greatest families, the Azure Spearman family Don Quixote's genius, Tutor La Mancha Don Quixote. And the archer who defeated countless demons, from one of the 7 greatest families, the mystical archer family Usher's genius, Bianca Faux Usher. Besides those, I recognized a lot of faces I saw on the battlefield. Who would have thought I would see them again in a place like this? Come to think of it, did Karmas Moor enter the academy too? We see Vikir turned his gaze over to a student as he said, should we get some music going? PG nervously said, you Omez, the student leaning on his shoulder asked, why aren't you doing what your senior asked you to do? Hurry up, a senior female student shouted in the back, saying that the newbie is going to sing now. Vikir, noticing that it's PG, as the senior female student told PG not to cry and drink this. If you drink it all in one go, you don't have to sing. PG responded, how could I drink all of that with a crushing peer-pressuring atmosphere? The senior student said, drink. They all asked PG if he was not going to listen to his seniors. PG then took the gigantic glass and chugged the beverage. The senior student started shouting, nice, good job PG. Unable to hold down the quantity of liquid, vomited on the floor as the senior student started laughing at him. One student shouted, this crazy bastard vomited. How disgusting, another senior said, ugh, it got onto my stockings, as they gave him the nickname Vomit. Vikir with a serious face walked over to PG and used his robe to cover the vomit as it shocked the senior students. In unison, they all shouted, who are you? Unfazed. Vikir looked towards PG and thought to himself, before I regressed, PG dropped out of school because he couldn't endure the bullying. He became a low-ranked government official and lived a tough life while looking after his parents. I met PG again at the front line after the time of the fall started. He was one of the few who volunteered to go to the front lines. With his amazing strategy and information analysis, he saved multiple lives. I was one of them. PG is a friend who is to be respected. Confused, PG looked over and said, Vikir. Vikir responded, PG, I'll take care of this, so return to the dorms first. I can't just stand idly while my friend gets humiliated. Then we see a senior student lean over to Vikir and ask, what are you doing, in a degrading tone? Are you crazy? You dare interrupt when a senior is talking? Are you his classmate? I score class B, right as he continuously slaps Vikir on his cheek. He further states that considering how Vikir arrogantly stepped in, it seems like you're confident. The triplets, enraged, thought, how dare he touch their master? Vikir, with crimson eyes, slightly adjusted his glasses, as we see a flashback of Vikir telling the triplets not to intervene since he's disguising himself as a commoner. Reveal my identity and I'll kill you, they stopped themselves out of fear. The senior female student then said, don't be so rough on the freshmen. We should treat them nicely as their seniors. As she smirked, saying, yeah, this will do the trick. If Vikir is able to drink all of that, we'll let you both go PG. trying to tell Vikir that he's fine. Vikir quickly took up the class mug and effortlessly chugged. The senior student, smirking and grinning, said it's a mixed drink with high alcohol content. It contains vodka and rum. There's no way a human can drink more than 1 liter of that, with the mixed liquor quickly fading from his mug. The students were stunned, as they all collectively said, "Huh." We see Vikir slam the glass mug onto the table and said bye to the senior students. Refusing to believe what he just saw, said, "Hey, wait, god damn it." We shift over to the new students, claimed to be the future heroes of the front line, as they were paralyzed by the ominous aura released from Vikir. With a cold gaze, Vikir replied, "Yes." "Do you still need something?" as we see the senior male student shaking in utter fear. Dolores entered the mix and said, "Hey, why is it so chaotic over there?" The 3 senior students panicking, said President Dolores. A freshman vomited. "We will take care of it," Dolores said. "You can't treat the freshmen cruelly." "We need to uphold the image of the academy," PG said. "Thanks, Vikir," as the triplets said. "So cool," with a thumbs up. 2 of the star freshmen thought, "Was I mistaken?" as the 3rd star freshman said, "Wow," as she is introduced as Ice Core Practical Exam Rank 1. Theory Exam Rank 2. Sinclair. "I found a nice person." At the academy, the Ice and Fire Corps attend classes together. Through this method, a competitive structure is created for the confident elites. This increased focus among students, and it is the academy's policy. With that marks the end of the lecture on the culture of the barbarian tribe, as the lecturer closes his book. We are introduced to this lecturer as the combat theory professor, Vencimorg. With the basis of the discovered locations of the barbarian tribe, is there anyone who would like to tell me their hypothesized location of their stronghold? Tutor Don Quixote, Ice Corps Practical Exam Tiered Rank 1, is thinking to himself that the location of the clash between the Balak and the Empire was at the South Region's front in Highland 1, 8, and 75. What else was there? With a worried expression, Bianca Usher, Ice Corps Practical Exam Tiered Rank 1, is thinking that the areas where they clashed were all in low-altitude locations, and considering it was a trough, wouldn't their stronghold be in a region of low altitude? With an uncertain expression, Sinclair, with a bright and cheerful aura, jumped up stating that she could answer the question. The lecturer asked if she was Sinclair, rank 1 of the Fire Corps. "Go ahead." Sinclair answered that in the military, according to the published academia, the location of the close fight between the barbarian tribe and the Empire was in Highlands 1, 4, 5, 7, 8, 30, 75, and 207. We see Vikir closely paying attention to Sinclair as she explained her findings. Vikir closed his eyes and said to himself, "The 29 from yesterday, they all possessed a severe stench of demons, and before they died, their faces exploded. If that's the skill of the elite corps that's hiding in this capital city, there is one place that I can think of. I should ask Cindy Wendy to investigate around that area." PG panicked and said, "Vikir," as he touched his arm. Vikir said, "Huh?" With all the students staring at Vikir, the lecturer said, "It seems like the Ice Corps aren't as good as the Fire Corps. To think there's a student who dares to sleep in the first class." Vikir quickly fixed his posture and adjusted his glasses, saying that he wasn't sleeping. PG panicked, saying, "Vikir." The lecturer said, "You were sleeping. What's your name?" "It's Vikir." "Okay, Vikir. Everyone saw you with your eyes closed. Is that your excuse?" "My eyes were closed, but I wasn't sleeping. I see, it seems like I was mistaken. It's all right, it's understandable." What kind of psycho entered this academy? The professor thought. All right, because of the answer that Ice Corps Rank 1 Sinclair gave, the Ice Corps has gained 1 point out of 10 for behavior points. If you can answer my question, I will give you and the Ice Corps the points. However, if you answer incorrectly, the whole Ice Corps will have negative points. As he points directly at Vikir with a serious expression. Vikir said, "That's unfair." Ignoring Vikir, the lecturer said, "All right, here's the question. Tell me the location of the Empire's military and where the Balak tribe fought. With that location, tell me where you think their stronghold is." Sinclair, thinking to herself, said, "Compared to other tribes, information on the Balaks is hard to come by. The question's difficulty is really high." Bianca, thinking to herself, said, "Because of that idiot, everyone in the Ice Corps is going to be at a loss." Vikir, with an emotionless expression, reminisces and said the location of the fight between the Baloks and the Empire. We then see the star students and lecturer stunned by his ability to answer the question. As Vikir said, "That's all." Vikir thought to himself, after the Ahuman incident, the Baloks have since moved their stronghold, so it's fine. PG, with a shocked and amazed expression, stared at Vikir as he sat down. The lecturer, filled with cold sweat, said, "That's spot on." As he stared into space, he further wondered how Vikir knew about the thesis that hasn't been verified by the academic world. Wait, the name Vikir. Is he the one placed first on the theory exam? Vikir will get 10 points, and the rest of the Ice Corps will receive 1. But even though you placed first in the theory exam, I cannot overlook the fact that you had your eyes closed during my lesson. I will minus 10 points. Vikir said, "I will be careful." Sinclair said that she didn't notice because Vikir is a common name. But he's that Vikir. Tudor thought to himself that he's that Vikir, the one that placed first in the theory exam. Who cares? Because of him, the whole Corps almost got a deficit in points. Just looking at nerds like him makes me want to punch them. So he's the smartest when it comes to theory, as he smirks. I wonder if that will be useful during the practical lessons. Run flat. As we see an orb-shaped ball with white gloves, it's a sport with 20 people on each team. Points are acquired when the ball is in the other team's goal area. It's against the rules to use mana and weapons. Besides that, it's a game where any method can be used to score goals. We see Tudor easily evading his opponents and saying that he was the best at run flat. "This is my time to shine." A few students shouted, Tudor was so hot. Bianca, with a displeased expression, thought that it was a barbaric sport. The triplets ran in front of Tudor, blocking his path. They said, "You arrogant bastard, how dare you try to break through us?" The rumored Iron-Blooded Swordsman family's troublemaker triplets. Tudor smirks as he said, "Sorry, but I don't plan to fight head-on against you monsters." Evading 2 of the 3, the third sibling told Tudor to give him the ball. Tudor smiled as he charged a special technique, hitting him. Tudor said he didn't plan on losing. The crowd said, "Wow, he's Tudor? He's so amazing. He's that strong even without mana or weapons. I heard that he's Don Quixote's run-flat prodigy, as expected of the Ice Corps base." Tudor said, "Yeah, what's the point of memorizing theory? If you're a true fighter, you need to win in strength." Tudor was surprised to see Vikir at the goal, saying, "Him. He's the one from this morning's lecture with Professor Vinci." Vikir, displeased by the triplets after telling them to not send Tudor his way, thought, "I should just step aside." Tudor said, "Should I tease him a little? My friend, with this, don't just study. I hope you also focus on training." Unfazed and immovable, Tudor crashed into Vikir and Tudor was sent flying, knocked out during impact. We see Bianca and Sinclair puzzled as to what happened. We then see Tudor body slam onto the ground as Vikir looked over his shoulder. Vikir, also puzzled, said to himself that he was planning to dodge, but why did he run into me first? Faking his injury, Vikir fell down and said, "Ow." Tudor, laying on the ground, came back to consciousness, thinking to himself, What am I doing right now? Did I faint? Wait, did I fall asleep during the match? Yeah, theory rank 1 Vikir. I was going to tease him by barging into his shoulder a little, but I don't remember. During that physical fight with that nerd, I got knocked out from it." He looked up to see Vikir dusting himself off. "I, Tudor Don Quixote." Vikir continued to dust himself off as Tudor said, "I need to test it again." The game continued as we saw that the ball was passed over to Tudor, as he said, "Something's wrong. I need to do it again." The triplets guarded Vikir. We saw Bianca and Sinclair lost to what was happening. The goal is there. But what are they doing? Tudor shouted, Vikir and the triplets. As the triplets shouted back, saying that he couldn't get through them. Tudor easily evaded them once again with his aim directed at Vikir. With a fierce look in his eyes, Vikir said, "I told them to keep him away from me, but why does he keep coming toward me? There's no way this is a coincidence." Azure Spearman family's run-flat secret technique. Saint, spear, tackle. Vikir, unfazed again, stood his ground and effortlessly braced for impact. His teammate stood over Tudor and asked if he was finally awake. Shocked, Tudor wondered what happened, asking why he fainted again. What the hell is going on? His teammate told Tudor to calm down. After you hit him with a high-speed tackle, you bounced off him at high speed. I understand why you're focused on him. He's definitely hiding something, Tutor said as he adjusted his headgear and re-entered the game, saying, I'll go against him this time. Tutor said, Sancho. Sancho replied, my friend was done over by him twice. I can't just watch and do nothing. He was fully introduced as the transfer student who came from the Mercenary Guild Association in the north, Sancho Barataria. Due to his overwhelming physique, he was not considered eligible for his age group in his league, so he decided not to play run flat. Sancho said, in the frozen land of the north, newborns of the elderly who are on the verge of death fight desperately. It means they're all warriors. The triplets, once again like broken records, said we won't let you pass this time. They were easily overpowered by Sancho as we saw them flying past Vikir. Vikir coldly looked back at the triplets, asking them if they wanted to die. One of the triplets said, I'm sorry. With full maximum speed, Sancho launched himself toward Vikir. Sancho, with the expression of a warrior who lost everything he loved, and Vikir, emotionless, once again stared at Sancho. Sancho said, let's see if you can endure my full power. As he slammed his arm into Vikir, Sancho felt as if he was trying to move a mountain. Cold sweat dripped off his face as he realized the gravity of the situation he was in. Vikir thought to himself whether he should just play along. As Vikir threw himself, we heard bystanders saying, oh, Sancho finally broke through their defense. Wait, but the guy Sancho pushed aside, he's not dead, right? Who cares? At this rate, class A will win. Sancho, still shaking, thought, what was that just now? It felt like he wasn't human. While Sancho's hand was stinging, one of the triplets seized the opportunity to steal the ball, sprinting in the opposite direction. The coach blew the whistle, stating that Class B won. The score is 0-1. As we saw Vikir brushing himself off for the 900th time, Sancho poured water on Vikir, saying that he was the secret contributor to Class B's victory, so he shouldn't just stand there. Tutor also told Vikir to be more happy because his win made him retire. Tutor explained that he was going to teach Vikir a lesson during the practical lessons because he was jealous of him, but now he acknowledged how shameful that was and apologized. Sancho then asked Vikir what exercise he did in order to have such a solid build. I thought you used mana. Vikir explained that he was a commoner who couldn't use mana. Tutor said, that's more of a shame. With such a blessed body, if you had received proper training, you would have been an expert like me. A few female students called out to Tutor and his friends, giving them towels as they blushed. They asked, please use them to wipe your sweat. Sancho handed Vikir a towel. While we saw Tutor saying, thanks, my classmates truly are the best. The Azure Spearman family's hero, Tutor, and the Mercenary Guild's ace, Sancho. One day they will become heroes who will save mankind by hunting an endless number of demons during the time of the fall. It's strange to think they had a past like this. As Vikir smiled and removed his glasses, the students around him were stunned. Bianca and Sinclair blushed. Sinclair said, wow. Vikir used the towel to pat himself down. As they all uttered, handsome. Vikir didn't know that his academy days would become troublesome from then on. We transitioned back to nighttime, where we saw a middle-aged man in full terror, as Vikir said, Lloyd Dockseller, 52 years old. The leader of the information house and the headmaster of the orphanage. You conspired with the demon and sold children from high-ranked families. Did you think you would go unnoticed? Lloyd shouted, don't tell me, that's solid aura. A swordmaster. Vikir repeated in his mind, a swordmaster. My aura is pretty much in a solid state, but it's still closer to liquid. To be specific, I'm at the highest level for a graduator. Vikir said to Lloyd, work with me to catch the demon. If you do, you will be compensated accordingly. Lloyd mumbled, They were both interrupted by an individual who launched a building toward them. Vikir easily dodged and looked up at the unknown figure. This overwhelming energy that I sense even from afar. Are you an elite corpse? We hope you guys enjoyed the episode of Revenge of the Iron-Blooded Sword Hound Season 2 on Manhwa Odyssey. Please ensure to like and subscribe for more.